I do have a question, and you let me know if you're comfortable with this. And this I'm only asking because there would be definitely a follow-up question here by my audience. I can foresee it already. When you were on the Sean Ryan show, you had stopped at a certain question. You know what I'm referring to?
I know everybody asked about that.
Have you tried to look into religion at all, such as the Crucifixion? You have? Do you not want to talk about that? Okay.
And I'd be a poor interviewer if I didn't ask it myself.
Okay, first of all, I was shocked that he asked the question. When he asked the question, I was in shock. But I stopped because there was no way I was going to answer that question on that podcast, because I do know that he gets a lot of his audience is mainstream. A lot of his audience is mainstream. So there was no way I was just not going to answer that. But no, I did not. But the truth of the matter is no, I did not remote view the Crucifixion.
Okay.
I think it was just more in shock that he had asked it. He kind of asked it excitedly, or he thought I don't know.
You just weren't comfortable.
Oh, no, I wasn't comfortable with
Yeah.
the question. I wasn't comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, it's a strange question to be comfortable with.
But, people can remote view the past. So if you want to, but I wouldn't want to remote view the Crucifixion. That would be so sad.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd agree with that. And what do you take from that, right? As a remote viewer, you're like, well, it's horrific.
Yeah. Who would, yeah. And I remember they would do, I think one of the remote viewing sites we had was Masada. I would remember how the Jews took.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember the very first time I did I don't even know why we would have even had that in a target pool for training. But the first time I did it, I got Masada, and it was uncomfortable. Well, here, a couple of years later, I think the target was pulled from me again, and I just wouldn't do it. It just something came over me. Something came over me. It blocked me, and it was like, I'm not doing this again, because it was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I decided not to do it.
Uncomfortable in the sense that, like, emotionally, you were just like,
yeah, those Jews were poisoning themselves to kill themselves. And so the second time, I did not know it was the Masada site, but I knew something came up. It was something stopped me and said, "Don't do it."
Okay. Yeah, and you got to listen to that.
Yeah. I couldn't. I said, "I'm not doing it."
Great. Yeah. Thanks for answering that question. Yeah. Do you ever perceive? Have you ever perceived any channeling from any entity other than human? Like, because channeling is just like your guides are coming through you. But have you ever perceived? Because we have these channelers that are out there. Whether it's Bashar or mainly Bashar, because there's some other ones too. If you look at like the Book of Ra and these type of contact cases, where they were channeling some entity to come through them and speak through them. Has that ever happened to you during these channelings?
You mean like the entity coming through me?
Yeah.
No, that's trans-channeling, and I don't do that.
You don't do that by choice or just...
It just never happens.
Never happens.
Yeah. My forte is automatic writing. Yeah. I just... if an entity wanted to come through, I don't let it come through.
Because it's not, I actually just spoke to a gentleman, his name is Jose Jofremia. He was Spanish Air Force, 1971. He was on duty, night shift, and the dogs are barking, and he's like, what's going on? These trained dogs are going nuts right now. Giant UFO overhead, big flying disc. It takes off. They run to the guardhouse. They get the other guys. And then they hear the dogs barking. They go outside, and there's this tall, luminous being standing there. They start opening fire on it because they're like army guys. It runs, hits the fence, leaves a hole in the fence, and only years later, he went on a quest after this to figure out, like, what was that night that I saw this tall, blonde sort of like entity that was there. And so he started researching UFOs. He would, go to see witnesses. He got passionate about it. He's like, I want answers. And he couldn't find answers there, and this led him to a more sort of down an esoteric path where he started learning, meditation. He learned all sorts of like healing, and eventually got into automatic writing. And it was through the automatic writing that he was able to communicate with this being he called Sharim.
Okay.
And it would come through in terms of writing. And then they set up a meeting date, and apparently he met this being.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was just, that was the basis of the question there. Do you ever feel like there was any other influence, or was it always just?
No, it was mostly, my guide. They're called joy guides, and they're just, entities on the other side that maybe don't have past lives, or if they ever lived. They're called joy guides, is what I was told, how I was taught.
Cool. Very cool.
And they're funny.
They're funny?
Mhm.
They have a sense of humor?
Mhm.
I like that.